Imagine you're trapped behind a locked door. You try pushing. You try pulling. Nothing works. Then you notice another person nearby. You wave them over. You know something important? They can solve a problem you cannot. But what if you're not human? Could a dog understand that a human can help it? Could a horse, a dolphin, or even a wild elephant recognize a person as a potential problem solver? In other words, do animals know how to ask humans for help? At first glance, the answer seems obvious. Dogs ask humans for things all the time. They stare at us when they're hungry. They scratch at doors when they want to go outside. They bark when they want attention. But are they really asking for help? Or have they simply learned that certain behaviors produce certain results? To ask for help, you have to understand something profound. You have to know that someone else has a mind capable of solving your problem. Scientists test this using the unsolvable task. Put a piece of meat inside a locked plastic container in front of a wolf. The wolf will bite, scratch, and tear at the box until it breaks or it gives up. It relies entirely on itself. Now, do the exact same thing with a dog. Within seconds of realizing the box won't open, the dog does something a wolf never does. It stops, turns around, and looks directly at the human face. Then back at the container, again and again. It's as if they're saying, "The thing I want is in there. You can open it. Please help." Scientists call this gaze alternation. Dogs don't just look at us because they like us. They look at us as a tool to manipulate the environment. They have cracked our evolutionary code to turn us into their personal problem solvers. But what about animals we didn't raise? Animals that owe us nothing? In Africa, a wild bird called the greater honey guide deliberately flies toward human hunters, chirps in a specific urgent frequency, and flies from tree to tree until it leads the humans to a wild beehive. The humans harvest the honey and leave the wax and larvae for the bird. It is a calculated, intentional request for backup. Even more staggering are the stories of marine life. Divers around the world have documented manta rays and sea turtles swimming directly up to humans, holding perfectly still and presenting a tangled fishing line or hook embedded in their skin. Some horses have been seen directing human attention toward trapped companions. In each case, the animal wasn't merely making noise. It seemed to be recruiting assistance. Think about what that requires. The animal must recognize, "I have a problem." Then, this human is capable of solving it. That may sound simple, but it suggests an awareness of another mind, a recognition that someone else possesses abilities, knowledge, or power that you lack. For a long time, many scientists believed such thinking belonged almost exclusively to humans. Now that assumption is being challenged. The more researchers study animal behavior, the more evidence they find that certain species treat humans differently from other objects in their environment. Not merely as sources of food, but as potential partners, potential helpers, perhaps even problem solvers. Of course, this doesn't mean animals think exactly like we do. A dog isn't planning a conversation. A dolphin isn't composing a request. But they may understand something surprisingly profound, that another creature can change the outcome of a situation. And that realization may be one of the foundations of intelligence itself. But let's look at the limits of this bridge. While animals can ask us for physical help, they never ask us for knowledge. A chimpanzee taught sign language can ask a human for an apple or to open a door. But no chimpanzee in history has ever used sign language to ask a human, "What are you eating?" or "What is that sound?" Animals ask us to change the physical world. They don't ask us to explain the mental world. They see us as powerful allies, but not as teachers. The next time an animal looks at you and makes a sound, remember, you aren't just looking at nature. Nature is looking at you, recognizing your power and trying to connect the dots. Has an animal ever clearly asked you for help? Let me know in the comments. Hit subscribe and let's keep thinking in dots.